Welcome back to Podcast Answers, the show that I help you by answering any podcasting questions along the way, helping starting growing podcasts. That's right. I help people start and grow podcasts. What you may not know is this is the second time that I've recorded this episode. I started it and I actually forgot to hit record on my recorder. So I decided to start over again. Those watching live actually got that live. They get to see that live. But what are we talking about today? The Rodecaster Pro and why it is important and why you would want one. I recently got one for this show, and the reason I wanted to get one for this show is it's going to make my production a lot easier when I actually remember to hit record. But that's besides the point. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what my process before was, and then now what my process is with the Rodecaster Pro. Like, why would I want one? What good is it? All that stuff. So my previous process was this. I had a basic USB XLR interface that took a mic into my computer via USB, and then I stream live video and audio as I do this show. So I use a software called Ecamm, and the nice thing about Ecamm is it records my video and audio, but then it also gives me an isolated audio track. And so with that, then I take that into my editor, chop the ends, ship it out, ready to go. And then, because I'm of the school of I just hit record, and that's actually what reminded me. I looked over and saw I didn't hit record last time I said hit record. So I hit record, and I play my audio track, all my sounds, everything is live as I'm doing it. So my intro song that you heard there is live as I'm recording the show, because I like to just be done with it as soon as I'm done hitting record. I go ahead and ship the episode out. But what I was doing in the past is I had a software that I was using called Farrago to play my sounds, to play my music, which I still use that sometimes from time to time. But I was using that and then trying to control the audio with that. I had on my Stream Deck, I was pushing a button that would fade between the next thing, the audio levels, and it just wasn't super easy to do. And so I was able to, thanks to a few supporters of this show, I was able to get a Rodecaster Pro. And so without further ado, I would like to talk to you a little bit about what that is and what makes it so cool. So here is the Rodecaster Pro. It's a audio device that is like, it's a mixing board. Well, it's several different things. Firstly, it is a mixing board. And so it has four USB, I'm sorry, not four USB. It has four XLR mics on the back of it. And they're not just XLR, they're combo jacks. So you can use a line in, you can put an instrument in there. And then it has four headphones out on it, and then two USB plugs on the back, two that you can plug into your computer, which actually provide three different audio channels for it to provide audio into your computer. So with what I do is I now am able to have a physical slider that I'm able to push up and down as I'm kind of adjust my volume for all of my tracks. And so what I do is I have a mixer for my mic, a channel for my mic. I have a channel for USB 1, USB 1 chat, USB 2 chat, or USB 2, the sound effects, as well as the Bluetooth. And the great thing about this is the Rodecaster Pro has 8 pads on the side. So think of them like kind of like a plastic button that you can push, that you can assign to do different things. You can assign it to do voice effects. You can assign it to do sound. So what I can do is I can easily just hit that, and you have sounds in the background. So that's a good way to do that. And then, so what I was starting to say is there's several different USB channels. And so what I can do is, for me, USB 1, I have set to be my main application. So that's going to be Ecamm Live. And so that sends my whole mix goes out to Ecamm Live. But then if I have guests in Ecamm Live, that acts as a way to bring them back into my mixing board and into my mixer. So that's the way I can get audio from Ecamm Live back in. And then I have USB 2 chat. So if I'm going to have a Zoom call or something else, I can also bring that in as a separate audio channel. And then I have a Bluetooth slider, so I can bring I'll call in from my phone. Then I have another USB channel that I use for bringing in things from Farrago or extra sounds that I want to bring in off of my computer. So I really have 3 different applications that I can bring in audio from and go out to on my computer with this new Rodecaster Pro II. And then the nice thing about it too, again, it has 4 different mic inputs. So if you have 4 different people that you are interviewing or talking to or whatever, you can bring them in to your mix really easily. And then there's 4 different independent headphone volumes too. So if you have 4 people, they can all have their own headphones that they're listening to the mix and what's happening in the mix, and then they can control the levels on that. And the great thing about this is it's so easy to do what they call routing too. So if I don't want something to go to a specific headphones or a specific channel, I can turn those off. I can just do really audio routing however I want. And then the nice thing about it too is it has a multi-track. So it has let's go back to the picture. If you're watching us live on here, it has a SD card slot on the back, so you can just record right on the device. You don't need to have any other software or hardware on your machine that you're capturing the audio with. It just records it right on the Rodecaster Pro II. It has a big clock on the front, so I can see exactly how long I've been recording. I can set markers in it, so if I say something that I want to remember later, I can just tap that clock and it sets a marker. So back when I'm editing, I know either this is something I said really good or this is where I made a mistake, so I should really edit that out. And then for it also has multi-track. And so on my recording, I get a separate audio file for each and every channel. I get one audio file that's stereo that has everything in it. If I just want to take that, ship it off, and we're good to go. But then I also get a recording for my mic. I get a recording for Ecamm. I get a recording for each channel. And so later in editing, if I want to go back and edit something out, like let's say somebody I was interviewing had a dog barking, I could go back and then I could take their channel off when I'm talking, so I don't hear things in the background, or if they cough or sneeze or whatever, it doesn't ruin my recording because I have that recording and I can use those audio later in whatever I want to do. Now it retails for $699, and that's a great price for what you're getting with this device, because really you're getting an all-in-one audio solution. Back in the day, when I first started doing podcasts, I had a mixing board so I could bring all my audio in. I had to have a separate recorder that I had audio out of the mixing board going into and recording my things. If I wanted to bring in any guests, I had to have a separate computer for that, and then have to have it be able to do a mix minus. And then if I wanted to play sound carts, I had to have my iPad plugged up to a channel and be able to push the sounds off. And it was just a lot to do. Back in the day, it was just so much. It was so hard to be able to get what I wanted to get out of a podcast and to be able to really produce a podcast. And so this thing, when it came out, when Rode set this up and made it available for purchase, it really changed the game as far as how I am able to do my podcast recording. And so I just purchased this. I just got this, and it has changed the game, because it also, not only does it have all of those devices in and out, but then it also has, for each channel, processing. And so it has a high pass filter where you can get out any low rumbles that come through. You can kind of cut that frequency out of your channel. You can do a de-esser, so when you say your S's, it's not so harsh coming across for your listeners. And then it has a noise gate, and this is one of the things that I really, really, really appreciate about it, because it allows you to take your your mic. And essentially a noise gate is if you're quiet and you're not talking, then there is a gate. It basically just shuts your mic channel off. And so any low rumbling, any breathing, any small noises aren't going to be heard unless you're actually talking above a certain level. And then it will actually let the gate open and let it be able to you'll really hear that. And so that is something that I really enjoyed about having this, because I know for me, if you hear like see if I'm quiet right now and I like start to slowly like make noise in front of the mic, you don't hear that. I can hear it, but it doesn't come across on the mic. It is 100% silence because the noise gate is there, and the noise gate shuts my mic off and keeps that from coming through to the listeners. And then it also has a compressor. So think of that as far as like anything louder than a certain point, it compresses that down and kind of makes it gives you that boomy radio voice, but it also allows it to not be so loud and soft in a certain area. It kind of keeps more of a consistent audio going across when you're speaking. It has an equalizer. You can change some of the frequencies of that and how your sound sounds. And then it has what's called the aural exciter and a big bottom. So think of that as kind of your radio boomy. It kind of adjusts the top frequencies and the low frequencies to kind of give you that radio sound. And then so it has that on everything, so you can sound professional and have all of that recording all of that into your recording and do it so easily and so amazingly. Now, the one thing that Rode just came out with is the Rødecaster Duo, and it's a smaller version of the same thing. So the Rødecaster Pro is $699. The Rødecaster Duo is $499. And it takes, for those who are just doing solo shows and not doing anything where you need multiple mics, the Duo is for you. So essentially it has 2 of the combo jacks in it. So either XLR or an instrument in it, and 2 headphones out, but all of the rest is really the same. And then it also is down to 4 channels, whereas the Rødecaster Pro has 6 faders on it. I forgot to say that about the Rødecaster Pro. The Pro has 6 faders on it, and then 2 virtual channels. So if you're using, let's say, channels 1, 2, 3, and 4 for your mics, you can still use the rest and have 2 virtual channels by clicking the knob in there and then adjusting the audio. You just don't have a fader on it. But the Duo takes that down to 4. And so, and it also brings the size down quite a bit. And so there's less on your desk. That was one of the complaints that I've heard about people with the Rødecaster Pro. It's not a big device, but it does take up some room on your desk. And the Rødecaster Duo is a lot smaller because they don't have a physical record button on it, as well as they don't have they only have as many sliders. So it does take up less room. So it's more of a device for those people who are just doing solo shows and not planning to have any more than 1 or maybe 2 people on their podcast with them. And then this also takes whereas the Rødecaster Pro has 8 buttons on it, this only has 6. Now they both have pages and what they call pages, so you can change from one bank to the other. So you have 8 buttons, and you can click to the next one, and you have another 8 buttons, another 8 buttons. I think that goes up to page 8 pages. The Duo only has 6 buttons, and so that is one thing that's different there. Now the Duo actually adds something back that the original Rødecaster Pro had that the Rødecaster Pro II lost, and that's the headphone jack in the front. So there's 4 headphone jacks in the back, but those are the larger headphone jacks, and then the one on the Duo is in the front, and that's more of like the one that you used to have for your iPhone, or something that's a smaller jack. And instead of like a professional jack, it's the 1/8 inch jack instead of the 1/4 inch jack. And it also is available if you have a headset like the AirPods that had the mic in it. You can use that mic on it, or if you have a lav mic, you can plug that right in the front and use that as an incoming mic also. So that's kind of the quick overview of the Rødecaster Pro II. and it makes it a lot easier for me because I'm able now to do the show all at once. I can hit record, I can go, and then as I'm done, I export the audio and I have the file all mixed together, and I can easily slide my volumes up and down as I'm monitoring them in my headphones. And then another thing too is just the ability to be able to have separate audio things coming in from your computer easily and mixing those around. Guys, if you've not checked out the Rodecaster Pro, I would suggest doing it because, again, it's an amazing piece of hardware for a small fee. Guys, if you enjoyed this podcast episode, if you've gotten anything out of this podcast, I ask that you consider giving back value to me, and you can do that by going to podcastanswers.com/buymeacoffee. You can become a monthly subscriber, you can become a one-off, you can just donate back. That's how we were able to accomplish and get this Rodecaster Pro, is because some amazing people have donated that. Guys, with that, have a great week.
Like what we do? Share this on your socials and tell everyone.